Hello and welcome back to my Dandelion Diaries. Today I'm going to try something a little bit different with my monthly flip throughs. So usually I put all of my books into one video and just kind of flip through every single one and talk about it a little bit. Well, I did a poll on my community page about would you guys rather prefer to see things like that I have been doing where all the books are in one video with timestamps, or if you'd rather get to the nitty-gritty into individual books. So I'm going to try this out and see how it goes, and I'm going to have one video per book that I'm using so far this year in 2024. So this is going to be the beginning of a few videos. I will have a playlist of all of them linked together in case you want to watch them all together, but this is this specific video for the Common Planner A5 size in the caramel cover. So right off the bat, I've had this housed in a 𝗏𝗏 taut leather cover. This is the Bordeaux. This is from their 2023 release for the 2024 planners. I also have a clear cover on this planner. This is by Lauren Phelps Designs and the Nib and Fleur collaboration. I absolutely love the appearance of this. I have not gotten tired of it yet. It's absolutely stunning. For the inner cover, I haven't really done anything else than when I originally set it up. Same with here. I didn't end up drawing anything yet. Maybe I'll go back. I don't know yet. For the year at a glance pages, I've been continuing on with my date nights, tracking anything up here with my little key like my menstruation, appointments, vacation. Just had a couple of days off for the holidays in January, nothing too substantial. For the next pages, I set this up as my index and adulting log. Updating this has been really easy, having it in the very front of the book versus having it in the back. All I have to do is kind of like flip open a couple of pages and then boom, I'm already here. I can check things off if I need to, or I can move on. I haven't updated anything with my goals pages. I've just used this as a reference. Again, I am loving having this in the front of the book versus having it in either a separate book or even in the back pages somewhere. It's just really easy to reference throughout the week. So like I go over here to my weekly column and I check what my goals are for the week and I do them. Or same with daily, even though it's not as broken down as like to-dos, but I can come back and reference this and it's been very, very helpful. For the quarterly pages, I've had so much fun with this. So I set this up to where I would have kind of like a quarter to-do list, quarter review, monthly to-do list or monthly intentions, and then monthly review. I really like seeing this side by side in this type of format and having the limited space. Knowing myself, I will write pages of just my brain dumping out when this helps me summarize it in a very short spot and overall just gets to the point. Like I'm not rambling on because my brain's rambling on. It's just here, concise, to the point. So I definitely am enjoying having a intentionals and review in one spot. And then for my column over here, I'll zoom you guys in. I have started off at the top by making this a little stats by month section. So I tracked the number of pages that I read, how many workouts I did, how many miles I ran, and then how many times I ate out in the month. All of that correlates back to my goals pages like I was talking about. So having this in, again, like a little snapshot is really interesting to me and fun to see. So if you're curious, I read 2,725 pages in January, which was way exceeding my goal. So I'm really happy about that. But I didn't work out a single time. And by workout, I mean go to the gym. I didn't go to the gym at all in January. And I'll get to that in my health planner, but just, yeah, it's a 0. I did go on 19 walks. So I walked 19 days out of the month, which was also really exciting. And I only ate out 6 times, which is good. My goal is 2 though. So slowly making it back down to minimal eating out. For the next section, I did a how did I spend my time? So this is kind of a new way I'm tracking on these pages. I've done habit trackers before and indexing and lots of other things, honestly. So I wanted to get creative and kind of try something new. So the way I've been tracking this is by 4 different colors. I have sleep, exercise, work, and fun. What I put into those categories is pretty much what they are. So sleep would be I'm sleeping or in bed at least. Exercise is any kind of exercise from walking to going to the gym. Work is anything from my dandelion diaries, my farm, anything like that. And then fun would be anything involving like entertainment or reading or something that I'm doing just for me that doesn't involve anything else. So for the whole month, I basically kept up with my tracking in a way. I would say this is probably 80% accurate. There were some days that I honestly didn't remember what time I went to bed or what time I woke up. I just kind of winged it. But I will say I did consistently go to bed very late this month. I've been averaging going to bed probably around 2 a.m., which is not necessarily in my best interest. And then at the bottom of this page, I have been tracking like my top memories, which is something that I really enjoy doing. I did this for my 𝗦𝘃𝗁𝐵𝐺 cousin for I think almost 2 or 3 years in a row. But I wanted to track it with my stickers and seeing like kind of just a snapshot again of like what happened. So read 5 books, which was way over my goal. Like I said, I started my seeds for my garden. And then I also had my dog, my little puppy Athena. She turned 2 years old in January, which was very exciting. Moving on into the monthly spaces, I wanted to use this mainly as how monthlies, I guess, are traditionally used, and that is events, birthdays, and like major things that I need to forward plan with in the monthly section. So they're pretty blank. I have to say, I really am enjoying seeing them this way, seeing them where I can just look at this direct and be like, wow, okay, nothing happened this month, exciting, or we only had a few events. Versus how I was doing it before, where it was all packed full of stickers and kits and everything else, which I still really enjoy using those things. It's just I want this to be more functional for me, so having it more in a blank slate like this where I can snapshot see exactly what's going on has been very, very helpful. I am going to continue to do this, but I think I talked about this in my February plan with me. I'm going to add a little bit more decoration because this is almost too plain for me. And I don't know if I'm going to keep up with it. Honestly, monthlies are really a struggle for me to use, so we shall see. Moving on into the weekly section, I had quite a bit of fun using my fountain pens. So at the end of 2023, I transitioned from using mainly all black pen in my planners to using my fountain pens in my planners. So I typically like to use my fountain pens in my journal. So having them in my planners was kind of like an extra step. But the way I see this is I already have them inked and I really enjoy writing with them anyways. So I might as well use them. And so I've had quite a bit of fun organizing, or I guess correlating my colors to the stickers that I have in my collection. So majority of the stickers that I use are from 𝗏𝗏𝐺𝑚𝑒's PET tapes, the Coffee Monsters Co. I have stickers for my own shop in here. I also think I have some Planner Monkey Co. in here. It's all kind of varying. I'm not going to go over each individual thing. If you're interested, just ask. But I am going to talk about the different fountain pen inks. So this one is the Birmingham Pen Company's Polar Bear and then the Ferriswheel Press Plated Gold Tress together. And I really like the contrast of the yellow and the bright blue. I will say that this is the first spread, so I wanted it to be the prettiest. They did not all stick to being this full. I would say that over the weeks, they're still full, but there's more written down, less stickers. I hope that makes sense. Like for week 2, this is much less, I feel like, than week 1. Like week 1 was really full, and then this is much more of me writing. It's still stickery, I know, but it's what works for me. This color is the Dominant Industries Natural Green. And again, these are 𝗏𝗏𝐺𝑚𝒻's. I will say that I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to use all of this space in this common planner. So the A5 is definitely something I like to have for my daily pages because I sometimes write a lot and sometimes don't. But the weekly pages, I could honestly not use all of the space. So the best way I can describe this is I tried to utilize everything to do what I want. So this was, I think, the first week that I started doing this cleaning section down here. So like for my sidebar, I have been doing a weekly task list that correlates to my goals by week, but also has any kind of events or anything going on that I'm trying to keep track of. I also have been putting a section for extra projects. This is basically things that I want to do for me that are fun. So I have an ink Rolodex project going on right now, and then I'm also trying to finish out my PET swatch books, basically just so I can see what I have, because I'm trying to buy less this year and use more of what I have. I also like to include my rate this week in my column over here because this is fun to me. I like to see it at a glance, like, okay, it was an average week, it was a great week, it was a bad week, like whatever's going on. This is an easy way for me to see it, and having these little 5-star ratings are just simple, very simple. They are from my shop, by the way. The rest of the week here, I basically have been doing it where I start at the top, move my way down in like a chronological order of what I'm doing that day. It doesn't always correlate to the exact timeline on the planner, since this is an hourly section. It doesn't bother me at all to have it off by a couple of hours if it didn't actually happen at that hour. I will say I do have some things where they are supposed to be on that hour, but it's okay. And then for the bottom section, this is where I've been trying to utilize more of the space. So I have like a cleaning list of everything that I'm trying to clean for the week. So I have goals again to have like a clean house. So I'm trying to make sure that we are cleaning one room at least every week, if not all the rooms. Obviously cleaning the whole house in a week sounds really daunting, and especially if you have a large house or lots of rooms or anything like that, that can be really challenging. For me, it's more of, I just want to have at least one room in our house that's clean in case we have a guest or something, and also because having a clean house just gives me peace of mind. Then the other side on the bottom, again, to utilize this space, I wanted to include like a baby habit tracker. So since I'm not tracking habits in the front of the book in the quarterly section, in this section, I wanted to have it in another space that I could look at. So I figured on the weekly section, this is easy for me to update because I reference this multiple times a week, and I can just check things off as I go. So I've been tracking my 5-year diary entries when I'm reading, when I go on walks, when I'm practicing my Spanish, and then when I'm doing any kind of art. And art doesn't necessarily have to be like sitting down with a canvas and paints or anything like that. It's more of like digital art. Anytime I'm practicing like hand lettering or anything like that, I count it as art. This is the current week that we are on, and I would have to say that I wanted to divide this again between different months. So like this is January over here, and then this is February. So I tried to correlate the 2 different inks that I was using to match the stickers again. So these are from Sticky Club. So the inks on this side of the page are Birmingham Pen Company's Ambered Adobe and Ferriswheel Press Frontenac Blue. And then this side of the page is the 𝗤𝘗 Rusty Anchor, and then the Birmingham Pen Company's Twilight. And I felt like they matched together, but they were still similar, but different in a way. And again, I kept up with my little cleaning tracker at the bottom here, and then also my habit tracker. This has been, like I said, incredibly helpful to see where I'm at with what's going on, and yeah. Also, this was Jane Eyre's, or Waringall's Jane Eyre ink, and then these inks here, this was Diamine's Cashmere Rose and 𝗤𝘗 𝗦𝘃𝗃. Now let's move on into the notes/daily pages. So I have a few pages that I wanted to use at the beginning of the notes section for tracking things. So this first section here is my date night log. My boyfriend and I go on dates, I would say not regularly, but when we do, we like to log if it's something exciting, or I like to log if it's something exciting, I guess. So we only really had 2 major dates in January, and that was we went to a movie and dinner on New Year's Day, and then we also had a movie night on the end of January, which was on the 30th. And then the next pages I've set up is my reading log. So I wanted to have a space where I could see what books I had been reading, what I'm rating them, and then any notes. I do track all this information in a journal that I use for my reading like books I'm reading. So I have like a little snapshot of the cover and then a description or any notes that I took on that book. But for the purposes of this book, I wanted to have a place for that as well. I will say I am going to try to change the color of what I'm writing in for each month. So January's was kind of like this goldish ochre color. And then for February, I'll change it to probably a pink to match the pink markers that I'm using in February, and then so on and so forth. If I run out of space on this page, considering that I've already met my quarterly goal in January for reading, I can always just add another section of this in the back and then re-reference my index in the front. Moving on into the actual daily section, I wanted to have a cover page in the back. So starting in this planner, you have blank pages, like they're all blank. There's nothing going on with these, they're just blank. So I wanted to take this opportunity to make it more of like a bullet journal style vibe and bring back some of my old habits that I did in my bullet journals. So what really honestly drew me to this planner in the first place is that I could do whatever I wanted in the back pages, dailies, whatever. I did end up using this as a dailies, and this is kind of like my combination of cover page and day one. So I went ahead and did a bubble letter January's. I wrote down my important dates for January. I have a small review of things here, a space for my currently inked pens, so I have a place to reference that here too, and not just in my ink journal. And then for my daily pages, I tried to be as consistent as I could in that I was tracking my astrology, which is something I'm really interested in and passionate about, my affirmations, which is things that I write for myself to kind of, I guess, boost my mind in a way. And then prayers, which are things that I usually pray about, like my family or my farm, my animals, or the weather, anything like that. And then I have a task list. And then sometimes I wrote down an entry. Most of the time I didn't though. And that's one thing that I'm finding really interesting using this book is that in the 𝗦𝘃𝗁𝐺𝐵 cousin in previous years, I would literally try to fill up the whole page, right? Because you get one page a day. So even if I didn't have a lot of tasks that day, or I didn't have a whole lot of astrology information I wanted to write down, I would still have this whole rest of the page that I would feel the need to fill up with space. And so I would write a journal entry. Well, in this planner, since it's blank, I don't have to, and I really enjoyed that. So half of my days are pretty much half a page, which has been really helpful to see that I don't need all that space. It also makes me feel good that I have enough pages in this planner, honestly. But the main bulk of this is, like I said, those three things that I've been tracking every day: astrology, affirmations, and prayer. And then tasks are varying by day depending on the day of the week, what I have going on, or whatever. I will say there were some times that I wanted to write out a little journal entry, and I did, but it wasn't an everyday occurrence. And then I also liked to document kind of like what I was doing in more of a bold setting, I guess. So like here's when I was reading the Court of Thorns and Roses series by Sarah J. Maas, which is why I read 5 books in January, because I could not put them down. Oh my gosh. She can tell a story. Let me just say, I was not prepared for the hype of the books. I was like, they can't be that great. Like there's no way. And I started reading the first one. I read it in a day. And then I picked up the second one and I read that one over like 2 days, and I couldn't put them down. They were just so compelling. And I don't know, if you haven't read them, I won't make any spoilers, but just know if you like fantasy, you like romance, you like story building, you like character development for sure, check them out. They are so fantastic. Sarah J. Maas is a fantastic author. I'm truly impressed with the way she told the stories of those books. Anyways, moving on. I basically continued with, again, the astrology, affirmations, and prayer. There were some days where I just did astrology. Like, that's it. And that's okay. I also wanted to document when I was getting my new inks. So I'm part of the 𝗪𝘅 Jubilee program. So I like to swatch the inks whenever I get them. So I just have an idea of how I feel about them, how I want to review them, or whatever. So these are the 2 that were for January. And then I also wanted to document when our major moon phases are between the new moon and the full moon. So I tried to dedicate a bit more space to the moons because I find, again, astrology and moonology and things like that very fascinating. So having that much space was just really nice for me to look back on. Again, I just continued through the daily pages like this, repeating the same thing. And I don't think I missed a single day in January. I'm pretty sure I wrote every single day. Yeah, this looks like every day. I was using my date stickers from my shop to kind of document when the days were, and I'm pretty sure I finished the whole sheet. So again, just repetition. Here's when we had the full moon or the wolf moon in January. These are from the washi tape shop, by the way, the zodiac stickers that I've been using. And then this is when I did my new releases for my shop. So I did a bunch of health and fitness stickers, icons, butterflies, and then I did some new moon or some new vinyls that had moons and stuff. And that's the end of January. So like I said, I loved having the daily pages to kind of do whatever I wanted back here. I'm still playing with the format, but I definitely think I'm going to continue with the astrology, affirmations, prayer, and tasks. And then if I want to write a journal entry, I can. I do have a separate book that I have been writing my journal entries in, so I think that's why I don't feel the need to have two. Because in that other book, I can write as short or as long as I want, and I'm not constricted to one page. And if I don't put the journaling in this, in this planner, I don't have to worry about running out of pages. So for January, for example, I made it to page 23, but that's also minus a few pages up here for my date night log and then also my reading log. So I would say I did a pretty fair job with the amount of pages I did in January. I didn't miss a single day. I'm really proud of me for that. But the fact that I can have this as a task list and then have a separate book for journaling has been really, really helpful. I'm not going to show that journal on this channel, by the way, because it's very personal to me, and I'm not going to be sharing that on the internet. I'm sorry. But I will say that having all of this and the freedom to do whatever I want in this space has been amazing. Alrighty, that is it for my A5 common planner here. If you have any questions about any of the spreads or anything that I did in this planner, please let me know down in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer you as best I can. I would love to know if you are using a common planner this year. Are you using an A5 or another size? I will say I have quite a few in my lineup this year, and I have been really enjoying all of them. And on that note, if you're interested in any more of the flip throughs that I have done for the first month of the year, that being January, stay tuned for the next video. I'm going to have a playlist of these back to back, and yeah, everything will be in those. But I again appreciate you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.